Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at how to generate word list with Crunch. Alright, so Crunch is a fantastic word list generator that generates word lists based on the criteria that you pass to it. So it's a fantastic password utility that is pre-installed on Kali Linux and it's excellent for generating word lists. Okay, so in the previous section we looked at how to use word lists for brute force, essentially for brute force attacks, but we did not look at how to create one and how they are used. In this case, I'm going to be showing you how to create your own word list with Crunch. Alright, so as I said, Crunch comes pre-installed and pre-configured on Kali Linux, which is awesome. Alright, now before we get started, I just want to show you guys something that that is really important for you to understand, and that is that if you go into your file directory, and the point here is that Kali Linux already comes with some pre-configured, or already comes with some word lists that you can use by default. Now these word lists can be found in other locations. Go to your computer and you go to user and you go into your share and you just want to scroll all the way down, or you can use your search menu here and just type in word lists. Alright, so once you get that, just open it up, and as you can see, you have your word lists right in here that come pre-installed or that come with Kali Linux. And the great thing about these ones is they are very powerful, and they are based on different types of attacks. So for example, you have your SQL map word list, you have your Nmap word list, you have one of the most popular word lists in the world, which is the RockQ word list, and so on and so forth. So these will come really in handy when specifying a word list, and especially if you do not want to generate your own, this is a great starting point. Alright, so you just select the working directory, which is user, share, and word lists. Alright, so let's get back to Crunch and let's look at how we can create our own word list. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you're working in the directory in which you want to store your word lists in. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change my directory to my desktop. Alright, so I'm going to change my directory to my desktop, and now in here I'm going to create a folder, and I'm just going to call it word lists. Alright, so make directory word lists, and I'm going to change my directory into that folder because that's where I want to store all my word lists. So I'm going to hit enter and we can clear, and now we can get started with Crunch. Alright, so Crunch is very simple to understand, and it's very easy to start generating your own word lists depending on the parameters that you want to pass. Okay, so let's look at how to use it. So the syntax is very simple. You obviously start off with the Crunch, alright, the Crunch command, and you can also look at the help menu if you ever feel lost. Alright, so as you can see, the usage is pretty much given here. So you have Crunch, the minimum and maximum value, and then you select your options. Alright, so I'll explain to you what this means. So if we just clear this and we get started. So let's say, for example, we want to generate a word list that contains words with 3 or more letters, but the letters should not be less than 3 and not be more than something like 5. Alright, so what would we do? We would say the minimum amount of letters to generate or work with in terms of the words to create is 3. We then select the maximum amount, so the maximum should be let's say 5. Okay, so the minimum and maximum is specified now. Now we need to select the character set that you want to specify. So a character set is pretty much self-explanatory. It is the characters that you want to specify to be used in this word list. Okay, so for example, we can say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and only specify A, B, C till the A to G essentially. And then we can also specify numbers. So we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so it will only use this character set to generate a word list. Now by default, this is not really it's really not something that you would be looking at, but it comes really in specialized situations when you want to generate word lists for more specific types of cracking or approaches. Alright, so we're gonna create this one, and I'll show you the correct way of creating one, or the way that I use to generate word lists. Okay, so this is what the syntax is so far. So we have specified Crunch, we have specified the minimum amount of letters, and we have specified the maximum amount of letters. So we know that all the words in the word list will be more than 3 letters but less than 5 letters. Excellent. We've then selected our character set, which is the characters that the word list will be based off. So it's only going to use A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now you might be asking, well, how do we output this into a word list? Well, what we do is we use the O command, which specifies an output, and then we just type in the name of the word list that we want to give. So I'm just going to call this word list 1.txt. All right, the extension is very important. You can use a .lst extension, all right, which is also good, or you can use a .txt extension, which is also going to work perfectly. All right, so I'm just going to hit enter, and as you can see, the crunch will now generate the following amount of data, and it'll give you the size or the amount of data in terms of the word list that is going to generate. And as you can see, it took only about 4 megabytes. That's because this word list is relatively small because of the character set that we've provided. Remember, if you do not specify a character set, which is what we'll be looking at, it's going to generate a word list that contains all characters. Okay, so you can expect the size to be quite large. As you can see, the units specified here, you have gigabyte, terabyte, and petabyte. So, you know, things can get really, really big, and it's very, very important to understand that. Okay, so let us look at the word list file now. If I just go into my word list folder and I look at the word list 1.txt, if I just open that up, you can see it's going to take a while to open up, and there you are. So you have characters with the character set that we have letters with the character set and the words that have been generated. So you can see some 3-letter words. If we scroll all the way down, you have your 4-letter words, 5, and so on and so forth, and it continues all the way down using all the character sets and the combinations that are possible. Now you can see that this word list is extremely large, and you know, likely so, it is a very, very powerful word list in its own way. Okay, so that is how to generate a word list in you know, in proper theory. So now let's look at how to create a word list that is actually quite powerful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say crunch again. Let me just clear the terminal. So I'm going to hit crunch. Okay, crunch. Now I'll specify a minimum and I would specify the same amount of the same range. So I'll specify the minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6. This is usually about a good range to work with, especially when you're trying to crack you know, services like SSH, you know, your telnet port, etc., etc. Now, I would not specify any character set. That's because I wanted to use the entire character set, and you know, therefore it becomes even more powerful because the amount of combinations have increased, and therefore there is a higher chance of you actually getting the password that you're looking for. So now all I have to do is I just have to output the word list. All right, so I'm just going to call it word list 2.txt. And once I hit enter, it's going to output this word list. So I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see, this one is slightly larger, significantly larger. It's 2 gigabytes. All right, so now it's going to generate the following number of lines. As you can see, it's going to tell you, and of course, because of the size of it, it's going to take quite a while. So as you can see, crunch 8% completed generating output. So this is a really, really, really huge word list. Now, something else I want to explain is you can generate word lists using crunch. All right, so it's a fantastic password utility to generate word lists. Now, most of the powerful word lists that you'll find online, and more specifically word lists like the ones that Kali Linux already comes with, which you can find in the user and you can find it in share. And if I just search for it here, I want to explain a few things while crunch is generating that large word list file. All right, so let me just open that up. Now, the thing with these word lists, more specifically the RockU word list, is it contains leaked or stolen credentials, actual, you know, passwords. It actually contains passwords that were leaked or stolen from a website and then were released to the public. So this is why these word lists are considered much more powerful, because they actually contain real password combinations that are likely to get you into a system. Now, by default, using something like crunch is like shooting in the dark. That's because you might be able to crack you know, a login, or you know, for some reason, if the word list was not good enough or did not contain the correct character set, you might end up with a failed exploit or a brute force attack. Okay, so we looked at performing a brute force attack in the previous section when we were using Metasploit, and obviously in the WordPress section where we are trying to brute force the login of the WordPress site. You saw that when using a word list, it does work if you have a fantastic character set. Now, by default, this word list that we're generating with crunch, as you can see, is quite large, more specifically 2 gigabytes, but it is quite powerful in the sense that you are likely to crack services like the SSH or telnet, you know, really, really basic types of services. All right, so the word list is generated, and now we can just open up our folder and the word list 2.txt. Now this obviously, depending on its size, will take quite a while to open up with my text editor. and there you are. So now, as you can see, it is still calculating the amount of lines that it contains, which just proves to you how large this word list is. Okay, so even if we scroll all the way down, you can see the number of combinations that you can find here, and we've not even hit the ones that have numbers or contain characters. So that was how to generate word lists with Crunch. It is a fantastic password utility, and it's always good to know how to generate your own word lists with your specific character sets or user preferences. All right, so that's going to be it for this video. In the next video, we'll